What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Indy Sooner. The Indy Sooner. What am I saying? JP and Trav show on the JP and Trav channel. Man, I'm going all the way back to the beginning. JP and Trav show on the JP and Trav YouTube channel. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. To my right, I have my esteemed co-host, brother and friend, Travis J. Davison. Travis, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Doing great. I've got a fun little $1,000 repair to do tomorrow to the car. Got a little wheel bearings popping out, but none of that is bothering me because I'm live with the birthday boy. So people in the comments already throwing you some happy birthday well wishes. That's an envelope, by the way. I know his camera's not on. It tricked me earlier. I thought it was a beer can he was opening, but it was an envelope that he was opening. So, yeah. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
How old are
Appreciate
you now?
y'all
22?
in the comments. 28.
Damn. It's your Adrian Peterson year.
28 today. Yeah.
Or your Antonio Perkins year.
Yeah. So that's yeah, no man, I've been super blessed with those of you. I have no idea what's going on my camera right now. It's glitching. But those of you who have said happy birthday to me throughout the day and everything like that. I even had one guy that told me he doesn't follow me anymore and then said
That was so weird.
That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Like,
But
what's the point? What's the point of telling somebody you're unfollowing them under their birthday post? Like,
and then he said happy birthday like it was all good. That's why I was so confused on. He was like, oh, one of the only Sooner accounts I've had to unfollow. Happy birthday. And I was like,
man, maybe he got sick of you putting all these 100-follower Texas trolls on the timeline all day and all night. Maybe. I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm just trying to think of reasons why somebody might unfollow you. I would never. But some people, some people don't see it like I see it. So
it doesn't bother me that much. It's just, to be honest, the way I am, the person I am, this, like, if I did something that pissed somebody off or offended somebody, like, and I was wrong in it, I'll admit that. Like, I don't have no problem talking through it. And I don't need your follow, but like, I don't like pissing people off in the wrong way. If it's just like you don't like me and you don't like the way I talk about stuff, then I could care less. But if it's like I actually did something, then maybe, I'm not perfect. I mess up from time to time, and I'd rather rectify that. But I don't know. It was just weird the way that was handled, but it's okay.
Bro, speaking of unfollowing, I had I tweeted about the Georgia incident, which of course Kirby brings up. I tweeted about the Georgia incident, right? Because it is a disturbing trend that, two people were killed based on their driving miscues after the championship parade or championship celebration.
Yeah.
And now they continue to get more and more and more traffic issues. And this Georgia fan shockingly comes on and says, well, it's, not making excuses or not defending what they did, but man, the Athens police, man, they're really strict. I'm like, so are they making up these charges or anyways? So I was like, people died, right? Like this was a situation that got very serious, and he, I forget what I said, but he's like, wow, I thought you were going to be a good follow. You're so full of it, blah, blah, blah. And he unfollowed me. I'm like, bro, I don't care. I'm like, dude, like you're up here defending Georgia players getting more reckless driving tickets, trying to make them out to be victims to the Athens police. Like the police are making stuff up. Like it was so funny that he told me, like, oh, I thought you were going to be a good follow, and I'm unfollowing. I'm like, deuces, bro. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Right. Over some petty stuff like that. It's okay. It is what it is. But I've had a great day. My wife has made my day great. My daughter has as well. She was gone most of the day, but we had some breakfast together, and she sang happy birthday to me. So I can't ask for much more. I'm getting to finally be back on the show tonight with my brother. It's been a few weeks.
I
I
know.
last week because of Fourth of July, and then the week before that I was busy at a concert, and I couldn't get off of, and so Trav went ahead and did the thing for us
Should have
with
brought in
our
the
guy Bo.
ghost of Texas football.
Yeah,
He was fun, man. He was a lot of fun. We had A&M fans in here and Texas fans. It was a little weird. It was a little weird, but
we were talking some stuff.
he's one of the good ones, though. One of these
Yeah,
days, we're gonna have Nash on,
yeah,
and it will be the biggest crossover of 2024.
Nash is just a troll. People,
Hey, Nash, I'll tell you this. I like to pick on Nash, but he's passionate,
he is
and I
passionate.
like it. I
Yeah,
like it. The reasons I pick on him is literally only things he does while being extremely passionate about Texas sports, and I
yeah,
can't knock him for that. Can't knock him
that's
for
just
that.
the thing.
Well, I can and I will, but
Right, right.
it is what it is. So, yeah, it's good to have you back, man. Real
Yeah,
good to have you back. I'll toast the camera to you.
yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Oh well, this is the first time that I've been back. That we've been able to at least chat a little bit. I know you and Ghost probably did a little bit, but talked about OU officially being in the SEC, obviously as of July 1st. And so, I know you guys did a great episode on that. And obviously, my thoughts would just be, talking a little bit about what the banter has been since then. Obviously, you had your guy Teddy, our guy Teddy, ruffle a couple feathers, whether that was today or yesterday, and kind of his soliloquy on Oklahoma Breakdown, talking about all these SEC teams and the narrative, and that OU is recruited better than basically anybody except for Georgia and Alabama, and if not like close to or tied with Texas in recruiting better than LSU, recruiting better than Tennessee, Ole Miss, Missouri, all these teams. And again, like this is a 1 year thing as of right now, the way they're talking about it, but basically you're saying the way that things are being presented is as if these people have done things. And obviously, outside of really LSU in the last 5-6 years, there hasn't been anybody else that's really won the SEC championship. Really has pushed those two teams. Obviously, Tennessee beat Alabama, but we're talking about winning a game versus getting to the playoff versus being in the SEC championship. And so I guess he was feeling a little bit slighted of the way, oh, you just getting talked about, well, you guys got to come in here and, do this and do that, which I think, there's a fair assessment to that of like we do. Where I get frustrated is when people talk about Oklahoma like we're some podunk, like you're just going to be a regular player in the SEC, which is just false. Like in every metric on every level, Oklahoma is not coming in to be Arkansas. Oklahoma is not coming in to be Auburn. They're just not. Oklahoma has way more prestige than that. They have way more resources than that, and maybe people just don't realize it. But hopefully, they will soon.
Yeah, and I think Teddy's point really is like, yeah, LSU won a championship in 2019 under a different coach. Brian Kelly has not done anything as LSU's coach. Like, yeah, Florida won some national titles under Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Billy Napier has put that program in the dump. Like, Auburn won with Cam under a different coach. Like, are you seeing a theme here? Like, I think the issue is Oklahoma may not be may not deserve to be slotted above all those SEC teams, but they sure as hell don't deserve to be slotted behind them because they have accomplished just as much as those coaches have, right? I mean, are you if Brent Venables and Billy Napier, if Oklahoma and Florida would have shut down their programs and Billy Napier and Brent Venables come available on the open market, which one do you think is getting hired?
Yeah.
Brent Venables. Like, I mean, simple as that. Like when you start looking at these schools that have had success since Oklahoma's last won a title, yeah, Sure, they've won titles, but none of those coaches are still there outside of Kirby. So, I mean, what are we doing, right? Like, you can slot us with them, just don't slot us behind them because they haven't accomplished anything either.
Right.
So, all we know, like we know what Billy Napier does in the SEC, he loses. Like, we know what a lot of these dudes do in the SEC. They don't win it. So at least you have a little bit of a, I don't know, mystery box, if you will, with Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yep.
You don't have them losing in the SEC yet. So at a minimum, you have that with other teams. You're starting with scratch. You have no idea what Oklahoma could be. And that's why this first season is so important. But so I get where Teddy's coming from, and all the people that are saying all the past accomplishments of SEC teams, they don't matter. Here's what annoys me about the conversation. If I hear one more person insult my intelligence and other Oklahoma fans' intelligence by saying, oh, you don't get it. It's the SEC grind. No, you don't get it. You've got to play Florida and then like Tennessee. And then you've got to go play like Auburn. And then like, stop it. Stop it. You think you're making some just, I mean, incredible galaxy-brained, statement that you're just listing SEC teams on a schedule as if Oklahoma fans didn't know about that.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you have to play hard teams week to week. Thank God you told me, random YouTuber, random podcaster, random Twitter account. I had no idea that the SEC had hard teams in it. But the point is, and there was one Alabama lineman, through no fault of his own, tried to explain this, right? Like, no, you don't get it. I had to prepare for this offensive lineman and then this offensive lineman the next week. Yeah, I do get that. But the thing is, I bet he had his best week of practice in between, right? He showed up early. He focused. He got his body right. He didn't drink that week probably. He was locked in, right? Like, that's the whole point I'm trying to make is SEC players understand the grind, right? So they lock in. I compare it to this. If the Big 12 schedule, think of it as 12 100-meter dashes. And say Oklahoma is the fastest dude. Oklahoma and Texas are the two fastest sprinters. And they go out, and the rest of the teams are the other sprinters, and they just run the race. Okay, they will run it well. They're fast. Well, if now you go to a different sprint, and there's going to be somebody behind you with a knife chasing you, I guarantee you, not only will you run faster in that moment, but you're going to prepare differently. You're going to eat differently. You're going to train differently. You're going to stretch more. You're going to do whatever you can to make sure that you are up to the task that week.
That's right.
And that's my point, is all these SEC players that go, man, you don't understand. It's just tough team after tough team. Yeah, that's why you practice harder. That's why you play harder. That's why you take it more seriously. That's why all of you end up going to the NFL draft, because you're preparing so much more, so much harder. You're not preparing as if you're going to play UCF at home. No disrespect to our dearly departed Oklahoma, staff that's now at UCF, but you get my point. UCF knows that they're not Georgia. That's obvious. So, but those are the sprinters you've been going against. You get kind of maybe we'll overlook it. We might be able to win with just the name on our jersey or the logo on our helmet. But that's what annoys the hell out of me with this. No, you don't get it. The SEC grind. Shut up. Go talk to some kindergartners with that kind of crap. Don't talk to people that talk about college football all day, every day, especially ones that do it for a living and try and, drop this truth bomb on us that you might have tough teams every week. Like, congratulations. That's your hot take? Like, no, we know it. We know it. That's why we're going there. And that's why Oklahoma's going to be better for it.
Yeah. Well, 100%. I mean, everything you just said is spot on. When you are able to prepare for teams that are going to, potentially whoop up on you, like you can't be made to look, out of their league. And that's what I think maybe people are seeing is like, well, you lost to Kansas. You lost to Oklahoma State. Like, you're not playing Kansas. You're not playing Oklahoma State. And while I understand that, obviously I think to your point, they may not have been up for some of those games, and that, I hate to say that, but it's just the truth. Sometimes
It's
what
human
happens.
nature.
Like no,
You could run as hard as you think you're running, and you're not going to run as fast as you are unless you got somebody right behind you, just maybe just a little bit slower with a kitchen knife.
Yeah,
it's human nature,
yeah.
and it's just if you've got a big lead, you tend to take your foot off the gas just because it's human nature. You're not,
100%.
and that's what Brent Venables has to communicate to them is look, no foot off the gas, right? You've got to close games. You've got to do this because we're playing teams that, I mean, can hang with us in the talent department. But that's the thing. They want to talk about losing to Oklahoma State and Kansas. I'll tell you what, Oklahoma State and Kansas would both have beat Florida last year. They both would have beat Mississippi State last year. They both would have beat Vanderbilt last year. They both would have beat Arkansas last year. Both of them probably beat Kentucky last year. They probably beat Tennessee last year. Like, what do we do? They probably beat South Carolina last year. So, like, you can get hung up on names of, oh, man, they lost to Kansas. Ha. Kansas ended ranked. Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State had the top running back in the country, finished ranked. Like, but so we get made fun of for losing to them. But Florida and I know I'm picking on Florida, I'm sorry, but they've stunk. So Florida and Vanderbilt and Mississippi State and all these other schools, they probably would have lost to them too. But, oh man, that'd be a quality SEC loss because they've just been, JP, they've just been ground to the bone from the SEC grind. Yeah. If there's not a coffee brand already called SEC grind, I'm going to make it.
That's great. That's great marketing.
It's going to be the SEC grind, and I'm going to sell it to all the dudes that think that they're breaking news that the SEC has a tough schedule.
Yeah, and there are great coaches in the SEC. This is what I'm about to say is not disqualifying that. What I do think is that a Kansas and Oklahoma State, like Leopold, Gundy, especially Gundy for sure, and obviously Leopold just in terms of you playing Oklahoma, but when you're playing Bedlam in your last Bedlam, like these guys throw a lot of times the kitchen sink at Oklahoma. And I'm not saying that like some of these teams in the SEC are not going to do that, but because it's a grind week to week, like we may not get. I'm not going to say everybody's best shot, but you understand what I'm saying. There may be less wrinkles. A lot of these teams think that they're just good enough to beat you sometimes straight up. They have that mantra, if you will. And so I do think that a lot of the teams are probably going to come in and not feel like they're going to be able to win, but at least feel like they're going to be able to compete. And they're at times, just like with Oklahoma, like we've seen throughout the years, you may get caught off guard by something, and I think that could happen more in the SEC than you would probably think, because you can get away with, you have the type of athletes, you can get away with, not just guys in your coverages as much. You can get away with, some different things in the offensive game. But that's just my opinion. I think
I think it's a really good point. I think it's a really good point because do you think it's any surprise that Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma and then they lose maybe the worst football game that they've lost in conference in, I don't know since when, 45-3 against UCF? You think that might be a coincidence? That they get up for OU, they game, as you say, game plan for OU. All they want to do is beat OU. And then they get handed their most embarrassing conference loss in years, 45-3, off of what could have catapulted them into some like New Year's Six bowl consideration. You start winning out. They go double overtime with BYU in a game they should have lost.
Yep.
Like they lose 33-7 to South Alabama. Like I think you've got. I mean, speaking specifically of Oklahoma State, I mean Kansas hadn't beaten us in ever. They've got us circled. Beating OU makes your year if you're a Big 12 team. Even Texas, it makes your year if you beat Oklahoma as a Big 12 team. SEC, it doesn't make their year at all. It might make Missouri's, but it's not going to make anybody else's. So that's the thing. You'll get an evenly spread amount of attention, I think maybe is what maybe you're talking about, right? It's you get an even spread of attention. And yeah, Boomer, great point. New Mexico State beat Auburn. And you don't think ranked Oklahoma State or ranked Kansas would? Like, it's crazy to me. Or Arizona, who was on like a 9-game win streak with one of the best quarterback wide receiver tandems in the country.
Yeah.
Against a first time starting quarterback and missing offensive linemen. Like people want to talk about the names of the schools we beat. Put up blind resumes of the schools that beat us. Put up blind resumes of those schools. And then put up blind resumes of some of these schools that SEC teams lost to.
Yeah.
What you saying?
We'll see. We'll see how it is, man. I mean, I'm just excited to see what unfolds this year. And I think, there's a lot to talk about as we, count down the weeks until fall camp starts. And then once that gets rolling, man, we're basically there.
Almost there, man. We're almost there. Fall camp is really the time that we kind of point to, right? It's like, all right, fall camp. It's the season now. Like this matters.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wondering. So we heard this last year, right? Because got off to a hot start, but weren't tested until Texas, right? It's all right. When can we believe in this team, right? We've seen OU teams get off to a hot start, right? And you see with the basketball team too. Oh man, we were a top 10 team. All of a sudden we don't make the tournament. Like, I think it's going to be worse in basketball, but I'm wondering what game is it? Texas again this year? Like, if we beat Tennessee, will anybody give us credit, or will it be, hey, look, Nico's a first-year guy as well. They're replacing a lot. Ruckus home environment. Tennessee's, not as tough as maybe some people think, blah, blah. Like, when will OU fans or national media, JP, say, like, just assuming we went through the non-conference, which isn't a guarantee by any means. We could be just looking ahead to the SEC. That would, again, be a human nature type situation. But, like, when will you be a believer in this team? What win would make you a believer? Would it be Texas? If we got in undefeated through Texas, would it just be Tennessee, knowing an SEC opponent came in and you took care of business at home? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Tennessee's going to be a great first test, and I think that can help. But it's at home, and even man, it's tough because even Texas, you did it last year. I don't, and we've talked about this. I know a lot of people will say this. I don't know that they're better than they were last year until they prove it on the field. I don't know that they're better on paper. I know a lot of people will say that, but because they have a lot of their offensive line coming back, and obviously Quinn, but they lost a lot of the receiver position. They lost their starting running back, and I know they've recruited well and they got some studs in the backfield. Don't get me wrong. Defensively, they were just okay last year, and they lost some people there too. And obviously, they're big two dudes that plug up the middle for them in the first place, and so. I don't see it unless Quinn takes a large jump, which he could. There was a tweet earlier, unfortunately, that compared him to Baker Mayfield, which was insane. And I'm like, look, man, like Quinn's not sniffing Baker's jockstrap when it comes to college ball. Like to compare them as if like, oh, I've seen the same thing I saw from Baker from Quinn. No, you haven't. Stop lying. You're lying out your teeth. Quinn hasn't had a single season as good as Baker had at Oklahoma. Not one single season. And Baker had 3 of them. 3.
Yeah, not even close.
Not close. Correct. It's not even close. So
Baker has had more Heisman finalist seasons than Quinn has had all Big 12 seasons.
Yeah. Yes.
First or second team.
Yes.
Baker had more Heisman winning seasons.
Was he second team last year?
What some publication that people were arguing with me. Some publication said he was. I didn't see that he was. I thought it was, I think, Will Howard and who's the other one? Oh, and Dylan Gabriel. So it was like Dylan and Will Howard, I believe. It could have been Dylan and Quinn on some publication. All I know is in 2 years as a full-time starter, as a generational prospect with a championship play caller and first-round weapons all over the place, he maybe has been a second-team All-Big 12 guy. Maybe. Like, trash, dog.
That's correct. But my point in saying that
I'm not sure if we stayed in the Big 12, he'd be over Cam Rising or Noah Fafita, or if Dylan came back, or Jackson. I mean, there's reason to believe Jalen Daniels is back. Like, he might be the fourth or fifth best quarterback in the Big 12, JP.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And that's why I'm saying, like, unless he takes this incredible
Shedeur Sanders is better than him.
Expected. Unless he takes that jump, then to me, like, I don't know that by the time Texas gets there, they should be undefeated. Well, they may have one loss at Michigan. Michigan probably will, a lot of people think they'll beat them. We'll see. But if they beat Michigan, then maybe it feels like, okay, if we beat that Texas team, they beat Michigan convincingly, then maybe. But if there were to be one loss or even like sneak by Michigan and it was an ugly game, I don't know that you even believe in them after Texas. And I hate saying that, but it's just like after last year, I almost feel like you want to see, let me I need to pull up the.
So one thing,
the schedule.
You kind of bring it up.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that, like, I really like the position Oklahoma's in going into that game in October, because OU has been in this position a lot over the last 20 years. Everybody is going to pick Texas. They're massive favorites. Despite us winning last year, despite us winning 10 games, they're going to pick Texas in a landslide. Texas has nothing to gain by winning that game. I mean, sure, it's another win on the schedule. You get the gold hat. You get to take the pictures, blah, blah, blah. Sure. But, like, Texas is not a team that handles expectation well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Oklahoma's in a really good spot. Boomer brought up OU historically has performed well when we were the underdog. Bulletin board material, palpable. And that's true. I mean, Brent Venables will have to spend 0 seconds motivating his team this year. 0.
Yeah.
Turn on any media program, any national, any SEC, anything. It's OU's going to struggle. OU's going to be 10th in the SEC. OU's going to be this, that, and the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, do you feel like, I guess I missed, for whatever reason, I thought there was a bye. I know there's a bye in between Auburn and Texas, but maybe I thought there was a bye in between Tennessee and then it was Texas. But maybe if they beat Auburn at Auburn, like for their first road SEC, I know Auburn's not going to be great. I guess if they do that and then they beat Texas, then maybe you do feel good. Certainly, if they get to Maine undefeated, I think you feel very good about the team, but not only about the team, but also just about the playoff. I mean, and making.
Yeah, you have the inside track at that point.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. I will feel good if you win your first 2 SEC games. You get 2 traditional SEC teams, 1 at home, 1 on the road. You take care of your first raucous road test in the SEC. You take care of your jitters game with a former quarterback coming back as a head coach, first SEC game. Everybody's kind of on edge. Like, you get through those 2 games, and I think it honestly shifts the narrative for the next 10 years, because Brent Venables, starting 6 and 7, we're still seeing the effects of that season in how people talk about us now, and how people talk about him now. So I think with that, if you can win those first 2 SEC games, I mean, OU Texas. I mean, obviously Texas will be very highly ranked. You want to get that win. That's the most important game on your schedule every year. It always is. But you won't hear it as much from the SEC and national people if you're 2-0 through those 3 games. If you're 2-0 against the SEC teams, and then you lose to a rivalry game, like nobody's going to knock you for that.
Yeah.
And then you've got another setup: home SEC, away SEC. I mean, if you can compartmentalize that schedule, I know it's one game at a time, one snap at a time, one whatever at a time, but NFL teams don't do that. NFL teams say they got 4-game schedule. You want to go, win 3 out of 4 in that 4-game slice, and you'll be in good shape come playoff time. I mean, the game's getting more like the NFL by the week, JP, by the day. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think the same approach could be taken. Say, look, this is this 2-week, spread. What's up, Drew? This 2-week spread of we got a home and we got an away. Got to get them both. Got to get them both. We'll worry about the rest down the road.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, and I think we're all just excited to get there. We're closer than we've ever been, obviously, and speaking of, we're also close to, Monday. If you got the early release, the College Football 25 is going to be out at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central. But before we do that, actually, something you said made me think of something I do want to bring up, something we should talk about. Oklahoma, earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday, partnered with Eagles' former vice president, if I'm not mistaken, player operations. Forget his name off the top of my head.
Vice president of football operations, correct?
Yes, I believe so. But
Jake Rosenberg.
What was his name, Trav?
Jake Rosenberg.
Yes. Jake Rosenberg. And they partnered with him basically working on the impending transition to what more than likely could be a salary cap era in college football. And so you see, Joe C getting ahead of the curve a little bit here, but what are our thoughts on that, Trav, and kind of what we see OU doing and maybe trying to get ahead of?
I'm gonna read a tweet from a friend of the program. That was from a couple weeks ago. All right, let's see. Okay, so on June 21st, friend of the program, Josh Pate,
yes,
reacting to the new deal that Brent Venables got. Normally, I'd criticize this, but Oklahoma has been about 10 steps ahead of every curve, so Venables will probably win the SEC this year. Now, obviously, he's not going to pick Brent Venables in the SEC. The point is, Oklahoma has been 10 steps ahead of every curve. This is what this is. This is, hey, we've got a GM in Curtis Lofton. Let's bring in another guy from the NFL. I mean, everybody says it becomes more like the NFL by the day. I said it earlier in this pod. It becomes more like the NFL by the day. Why not hire an extremely talented, proven guy from the NFL to be a consultant for your GM and for your athletic director and for your head coach? Like, I mean, it's brilliant. It really is.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, and this is why
I'll tell you this:
like
every coach I've talked to is excited about this salary cap. Every coach,
because it'll help them manage their roster better, basically.
Yeah, well, it won't be the Wild West. It won't be, hey, this baseball player is getting $600,000 because they have some donor that just is filling their collective full of oil money. This, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're not going to, I mean, you got to wonder how to allocate it. There's going to be caps. And thing is, the way it's been described to me is like, it'll be a revenue share model. So it won't be like just collectives handing out dudes on, like, they won't have just dudes on retainer.
Yeah.
Like, you won't have somebody signed to a $500,000 contract with the collective, like, paying them out. Like, it'll be a revenue share model, and then it'll go back to being 2 ways to gain revenue. Revenue share model, it's capped, and true NIL, like actual name, image, likeness. Like, a dealership hires you to come and sign some autographs during their big 4th of July event, or a jewelry store hires you to do a commercial about your experience going there and buying your engagement ring, or whatever, a restaurant brings you in and does a dish about you. Like, true NIL, using your brand, getting some ROI. Gone are the days in July 1st, 2025. Gone are the days of asking donors to shell out, hey, man, I need a couple $100,000, man. There's this one guy in the portal. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because it's donor fatigue, man. They keep getting on ask for money like crazy anyways.
That's
so
crazy, yeah.
I will say I was at the SEC Black Tie Gala, as the +1 for Mr. Wallace Marsh. And they had talked about their fundraising, about how they were trying to get to that $2 billion number with that lead on program. And Joe Harris said, we've been averaging, I think the number was like $130 million a year in athletic donations. Well, obviously big numbers. He was like, and I may be off by 10 million or so in this, but he goes, thanks to last night, one last minute donation of $20 million, one gift that will, be announced shortly. Oklahoma set a record this past year. It was like $335 million raised in just the 1 year. Like, if you see an OU donor or you are an OU donor, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Because that's big boy spending right there. When nearly triple what already a big time donor base raises, triple it in 1 year, that's big time.
That's insane.
PSS, I got it like that, man. I go to fancy stuff too.
He does.
I was looking like $1 million, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Check the photos.
Mr. Davidson hit different. I'm telling
you. I was like, my dad coming? I was like, John here? Yo, John, where you at?
I know. I was like, ooh, debonair. Hold on.
I did see a couple people that were like, that just know me from like radio. They were giving me that, like, administrators that were like, what are you doing here? Hey, don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it.
They said there's poor people around.
Exactly.
What is he doing here? That's insane.
Look, you have hair? I've only seen you wear hats. What's going on here?
That's awesome. I love that you got to be a part of all that, though.
But yeah, it was, I'll tell you what, 2 guys that can give speeches, Joe Harris and Greg Sankey. I'll tell you what, man, there's a reason those 2 have those jobs.
Yeah.
Sankey got up there, man, just cooked. I didn't realize, I guess his, like, oh man, I can't believe I'm forgetting it now, but he's got OU ties. Like his
Sankey? Yes.
Yeah, his like his like grandfather was adopted or something, like Guthrie, Oklahoma. I forget what it was, but he's got Oklahoma ties. He remembers coming to Oklahoma as a kid, this, that, and the other. Like, it was, he kind of gave that whole background and talked about, what SEC life was like and how happy he was to bring, Oklahoma into it and the traditions and mean, he knew who he was talking to.
Yeah.
He was buttering up the right people to butter up, right? I mean, I bet some of those checkbooks started itching in the room hearing Sankey talk. I bet they were like, man, let's do it. Let's keep going on. But you've got a table down the middle of all the coaches and all the big ADs and associate ADs,
Yeah.
down the middle, and Bob, Bob's sitting there talking to Skip and Porter, and all these guys are all tucked up, and it. I mean, it was definitely a romantic evening, and I say that in a way of just, it was hard not to absolutely love the University of Oklahoma that night. Like it was very well done.
Yeah.
Very, very well done. Had all the they had projectors set up. They had big white curtains around the whole room, and all the projectors were playing old Big 12 OU wins, like highlights from them.
Yeah.
I mean, it was top notch. But yeah, Bob showed up. We were all standing near the front. Me, obviously Wallace, James Spann, the CEO of Boyd Street Ventures, Eugene and Mary Kay Queener, awesome friends of mine. We're all standing at one of the front tables, and we see Bob come in. Bob's got a polo on. Mike Hauk is leading the way. Bob's got a polo on, crimson polo, and Mike's kind of walking through, and Bob's got his tux on a hanger, and he's like walking through the bar area while everybody's got their wine and all this, that, and the other. And Bob, hold on. He goes back there and throws his tux on, comes on out. I was like, all right, Superman had to go get in the booth. I get it. I get
it. That's so funny. I love that. Coach Stoops never changed.
I will say, I brought up Skip Johnson. Keep an eye out next week. I've got a big time Zoom call tomorrow, about to have some really exciting OU baseball NIL news. So I'm not sure if we're going to. I mean, maybe I'm in Vegas next week. It might be a little tough. You might have to call on your boy Nash to fill in. But yeah, I'll be in Vegas, actually meeting. Anyways, but have big news about OU baseball NIL. Really big news. So maybe not this next week, but the week after, we could have a person associated with that on the show to kind of talk us through it. And it will be, I'm working on with the call, there will be involvement with the JP and Trav show in an official capacity. So super excited about that. JP, I'll tell you about that off air.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, I'm finding that out live too with the rest of y'all. So I'll take it all. That sounds amazing, bro. Trav gonna be fitting the big bills in Las Vegas. Don't go too crazy out there when you're out there.
No, man, I got that. Like I said, I got that. Y'all got that super chat function. I got to pay for $1,000 wheel bearing replacement tomorrow, 3 days before I leave for Vegas. So that kind of cut into the Vegas spending budget. So yeah, it'll be a fun time going out there for summer league. And then I got a couple meetings out there that I'm really excited about. So, yeah, and then I'll come back from Vegas, fly out of there 6 a.m. Friday, arrive at 11:30, I saw it too. Have a big time audience rent meeting here in Tulsa, and then go on air. I'm gonna fall asleep at 6:01. I get off air at 6. Friday, I'm gonna fall asleep at 6:01. I promise you.
Man.
Once I start to hear that music go at 5:59, I'll be like, all right, later.
Oh man. Well, the next thing I had up to talk about, and I'll go through real quick. We can we can also make this. I'll send it out from the JP and Trav Twitter account as well. But really quick, let's do 3 on each side. I was gonna do all 11, but let's change it up just because I do want to get to some recruiting things. I know people are going to have questions. Trav, obviously, College Football 25 comes out in an official capacity on Monday. For those of you who were able to get the early release or paid to get the early release, Ultimate Team is going to be a piece of that too, and you're going to be able to play with players from previous years. And so, yes, while we didn't get a game the last 10 years, you can play with Baker. You'll probably be able to play with Kyler, be able to play with Jalen, CD, Hollywood Brown, all these different players. So if you could choose your ultimate team, what would it be? And I'll say it on Twitter. I'll ask you the full team, but give me 3 players on each team. And we'll just keep it to the past 20 years just to make it a little easy. 3 players on each side of the ball, offense and defense, that you would have on your ultimate team on College Football 25. Chat, go ahead and drop them in. Trav, let me know what you think.
Okay, I'm going to go defense first.
Okay.
For my 3. And then you go your defense and then your offense, and I'll finish with my offense. So we'll kind of snake draft it.
Sounds good.
Defense, I'm going to go with my favorite defensive player. Probably in OU history, and Derek Strait. He was like my first favorite defender.
Yeah.
I would then go Antonio Perkins because he'd play defense, but he'd also be my return man. So I get to use him in both of those roles, the multifaceted. And then I'd probably go. I'd probably go Gerald McCoy because I think this game would allow him to show a lot of his personality. He's obviously wildly talented. You're getting one of the best defensive tackles to ever play at Oklahoma, but you're also getting, a little bit deeper with this game. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I were just creating, with downloading a roster and making somebody Gerald McCoy, I'm not sure it would hit the same. I might even go like an Eric Stryker or something because speed kills in these games. But Gerald McCoy. So Gerald McCoy, Derek Strait, Antonio Perkins. So go ahead with your defense, then your offense.
Antonio Perkins. It's good. Defense, I'll probably also go Gerald McCoy if I'm allowed to now.
I'll allow it, I suppose.
I was going to say, if you're taking him off the board, then I'll have to choose somebody else. But I'll go Gerald McCoy. I would go – man, this one is more just personal for me more than it is, I guess. The guy was talented, don't get me wrong. But I love Travis Lewis. He's one of my favorite linebackers of all time at OU. So
he's got a great name. How could you not like him?
And I played with him. Obviously, I've actually played with him before. So I remember doing that. So I'd probably have Travis Lewis in the linebacking core. And then I would do Roy Williams in the secondary.
Yeah, I was thinking Roy, but I was like, bro, I think half of Roy's shit would be illegal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I think Roy might be kicked out of some games if he's in this one. So
if I didn't choose Roy, I would choose Aaron Colvin.
Okay, 918 boy, Wasso, I got you.
Yeah.
He used to wear 918 on his eye black, and I ran into him at 747 and brought it up and started talking to him about it.
That's awesome.
Those are some wild times, let me tell you. Yeah, let me tell you. So for those of you that like Nick Harris, y'all ought to come by Yo Pablo during spring games. He always comes by. But yeah, it's, Aaron Colvin for sure. You've got so many good ones. But yeah, I would just worry about Roy Williams getting thrown out of games.
I feel that. Hear that.
So, all right. One, I kind of wanted to pick Teddy because if he screwed up, I'd text him about it.
Yeah.
or tell them about it on air. I'll be like, bro, you're tanking on my ultimate team. You injured your knee for the third straight week. What's going on here, Teddy? Get it together.
Yeah. Okay, my offense.
Yep.
I would go Baker. Man, I would love to play Baker. I really love playing with Kyler, though. That would be.
Baker in this game would be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Baker, and then I'm gonna go CD at the wide receiver position, and then I'm gonna go Joe Mixon.
Okay. Okay. Um. I'm gonna go easy peasy. I'm gonna go. Yeah, we can talk about it. I'm gonna go Adrian Peterson. I'm gonna go K1 because in this game, like speed is so important.
Yeah.
And I just think, I think K1 in a video game, he's already a video game type guy. You put something like that, ooh, him and AD in the same backfield is so unfair, so unfair. And then, man, there's so many good wide receivers. I kind of want to go CD, but what I'm going to do is go Mark Andrews. I think a tight end in this game is
Mark is a beast too.
I mean, just big time, like just over the middle type stuff. You hit a little play action with Adrian effing Peterson, and K1 hits Andrews going up a seam, or you've got Andrews blocking for Adrian Peterson. Like, what are we doing here, dog? Like, that'd be nuts. So if I could only pick three, it would be K1 in a video game format, K1, AD, and Mark Andrews.
Man, that would be nasty.
Because any wide receiver you have at that point, you're in good shape because they're stacking the box, they're loading the box against AD. I promise that.
Loading the box against AD, got to.
And they've got to keep. They're going to bring safety down to try and help with Mark Andrews up the seam or wherever he's lined up, or even if he's staying back blocking and want to leak out like wide receivers are going to be on islands all day. Like if you can just get open, K1 can get it to you.
Bruh,
and K1 gets outside the pocket. Now your corner's in hell.
Dog. That's what I was saying. Because you've got AD in the backfield, you really can't go zone that much. I mean, you could do some zone pressures, kind of, but then it's like you're not coming downhill, and you let him get ahead of steam. It's over. So if you're gonna go man to man with that, man, I'm sending 4 verts all day, make you turn your back, and then I'm running 90 yards. That's what I'm doing. I'm sorry. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
Timeout.
Can you still hear me? I froze.
I can't hear you. Please tell me, PSS, that you are not saying that the OU softball team lost to the Georgia football team for the ESPYs team award. Please tell me that's not true.
Who did who actually won it?
Verify that, please.
Who actually won? Riley Boone was tweeting about it, so probably.
I'm sick.
I'm going to jump out, jump back in. I'm frozen.
Yeah. As Trav comes back in, I know a lot of you guys have questions about, are we going to get tackles? I don't know. It sucks, I think, at times to miss out on some of these guys. Obviously we've gotten a few. I'm sorry. USC women's who? What USC women's team? Oh, South Carolina. Were they undefeated? Did they go undefeated this year? Like, were they undefeated this year? Is that what it was? Let me know. Y'all let me know. Because if they were undefeated, and if this is a year-to-year award, and they were undefeated, I can understand to a point. I can understand. But if we're just like you have a team that won their fourth straight national championship. No, they did lose once, Kirby. I think. Nah, that's disrespectful. I'm sorry, it's disrespectful. You had a team go four straight. That's insane to me. I probably would have felt better if they lost it to like Kansas City, but for it to have been like a fellow women's basketball or college sports team,
Yeah, that's rough. That's
this
rough.
yeah. Somebody go look at one of y'all in the chat if you don't mind. Please go and look up if the UConn women's basketball team ever won the SB award.
I do want to share this. We were talking about Jake Rosenberg joining as a consultant earlier from the Philadelphia Eagles. Jim Nagy, who's incredible. He's the executive director of the Senior Bowl. He was 18-year NFL scout, four-time Super Bowl champion, one of the more respected like structural guys when it comes to like organizational guys in football. He said, for programs that can afford it, this is the future model of college football. Credit OU football for being forward-thinking and aligning with a proven NFL executive to help navigate rapid shift to a pro-style construct. Other P4 head coaches with resources should demand a similar setup. Again, OU leading the way.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
I mean, if South Carolina went undefeated, like I said this before you hopped on trap. I can get it. If it's a year thing, I get it. Like you went undefeated.
But part of it is like this senior class. Like reward the senior class. They keep on coming to the ESPYs every year for you just to say that softball doesn't matter.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that sucks.
And honestly, I think probably part of it was ESPN's pushing this, WNBA type stuff, like pushing women's basketball more than they ever have. I think that is kind of trying to capitalize on the popularity. I mean, that's a bummer, though. That's a bummer. But hey, ESPYs are cool, but 4-peats are cooler.
4-peats are absolutely cooler. Before we get out of here, guys, you got any questions about recruiting? Like I said, Trevor, we were talking about a little bit about tackles before you got back on. I know some people had questions about we're going to get anybody. I know we missed on a few guys. Some people.
I still think we get Fasusi.
Yeah. It's a conundrum. Not that Beanbo has gotten really talented dudes. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, especially in transfer portal, like Awanya Morris. Obviously, Anton Harrison was a highly rated 4-star, and Caden Green. Obviously, I know that's a sore spot because he's in Missouri, but it is just weird. Like, it's like, do you not want to come play for Bill Beanbo? But then we talked about it before. Beanbo wants a certain type of dude, and he's not going to play that BS.
Well, this is not going to make people feel any better about it, but Bill Bedenbaugh truly does not give two shits about the rankings. Yeah. At all. I trust Bill Bedenbaugh's assessment over anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got Alphalava, let's see. A source close to the recruitment said, I could care less what he is ranked, and I don't say that in a cocky way. They don't make guys like him. Has everything you want. This dude is going to be special. He's the one I wanted on the interior. I mean, it's from somebody that was very close to the recruitment.
Yeah.
So, like, if by this time you don't trust Bill Bedenbaugh's evaluation and who he wants, sure. Does he want Lamont Rogers? Sure, absolutely. Does he want Caden Greenback? I'm sure he does. But, like, I trust the guy. And Boomer brings up that Coach B may have a rep of being too harsh. Cool. It sure works on the field. And in an era where all these kids, they're getting paid, maybe they come in a little entitled, I don't want that anywhere near the offensive line room.
His players love him, though. Like, they come back.
Right. Like, well, that's the thing. It's like, if Bill Bedenbaugh's not for you, then I don't think you're for the offensive line. Like, that's kind of what it comes down to, is if you can't handle being coached harshly, then good luck. I mean, you just expect everybody to kiss your ass for the next, 15 years of your career? Not going to happen. Those stars are going to go away the moment you sign on that dotted line. So,
yep.
if Bedenbaugh is known for being too harsh, good. You know who else was known for being too harsh? Jerry Schmidt. You know who we replaced him with? Benny Wiley. How many of you wish that we would have not brought back Jerry Schmidt? You do not want to get the Benny Wiley of offensive line coaches, I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. That's the piece I'll say on that. I do think we need more likes. I'm going to go right now to the YouTube and like this video.
Yeah, help us out, man.
It's free. Free 99.
How many likes do we have right now?
How many what?
How many likes do we have?
I was the 20th. Really embarrassing numbers. These aren't SEC numbers. These are a bunch of Big 12 numbers. Got a bunch of Big 12 fans in here. The Tennessee page could read the Declaration of Independence live with no video, and they'd have 200 likes because they're SEC fans.
It just means one to them, I guess. Come on, y'all, just click it. That's it. Because I saw two and I looked, and I hope that's not true. I just hope that's not the case. Maybe my stuff is backed up. I don't know, but I mean, at least like it for my birthday if you're gonna do anything.
Right, some birthday likes. Come on now.
Something. I'll take something.
Oh, and Gunny pops in. Look at this.
Like, oh,
Gunny's up late.
Gunny's up. Wow.
Sue Davidson trying to solve the offensive line recruiting woes. Get a testimonial from Creed.
The best center in the league.
We need an NIL donation from Creed before we need a testimonial.
I'm telling you.
We got testimonials coming out our ears.
Did he get signed yet? Because if he didn't, when he does,
he could promise future earnings.
He getting paid. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, that's why I was like, hey, bro, Bake, you got that $100 million contract.
Hey, you know, Bake gonna be.
What you trying to do?
Bake have been screwed over his money. Not that he wouldn't get to OU, but he probably a little bit close to the best with it.
Let's see. We got to run at just great comments here. We need QT to sponsor OU baseball. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I just had a dream today of roller grill concessions and Rooster Booster fountain drinks just ready to roll. Oh my God, nuts. I'd go nuts. Create a future Viking next season.
Mm.
Oh my God, that would be the first offensive lineman jersey I'd ever purchase if Creed ended up a Viking. But I don't think Kansas City's going to let him go. And then Shansta 21. Yes, I am on air tomorrow from 3 p.m. Central Standard Time to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. PSS, they are on our podcast page. So go to your app on the menu, hit podcasts, and it'll bring you to the podcast page. It literally goes back whenever. You can scroll, you can listen to the next day, you can do everything like that. So on the app, podcast page, it's right there. And we've got some other pods there. So like we have the Red River pod. We've got the Diamond Envy. That is Tyler McComas doing the softball pod. So we've got some other pods there that are good. So,
Mama Sue, appreciate you. Much love.
Yeah. Oh, Sooner Cowboys popping in just to say Creed wants Creed to be a Cowboy. No. You got all of them coming in now. Sheila, old Sue, giving the happy birthday messages.
I was even watching the ESPYs probably. I was like, where have y'all been? But, Well,
Right,
Trav's got to. I know Trav's got to get to sleep. He's a little tired, as am I.
You're on Eastern time, bro. You need to get to sleep. It's damn near midnight where you're at.
I know. I got a big work day tomorrow. We got a lot of stuff we rolling out this upcoming fall, and I'm not behind, but I just need to get some stuff out. So yeah, fun.
A little bit of housekeeping here.
Of compliance.
Jeff, I'm not sure it's worked out for CD. They're holding out on paying the man, so
I don't know why.
Maybe your big talking radio show, owner, Johnny Walker Blue owner, ought to loosen up the purse strings for CD because I know other teams would. So I would say CD has worked out for the Cowboys more than the Cowboys have worked out for CD. Let's put it that way.
Man just had a legendary season and they won't pay him. It's crazy.
Pay the man. We need his NIL money too.
We do. Kirby will do no such thing.
No twerking. No twerking. All right. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate the birthday wishes. I will at least see you next week, Thursday, at the same time. Well, not the same time, actually. We'll be a little earlier. We'll be normal time next week. But we will see about Trav and
we'll see.
What he's got planned.
We'll see. I'll be bringing my laptop, so we'll see if I can do it from Vegas. We'll see what happens.
And got
that'd be a 6 p.m. show. I mean, I might be able to. Who knows? Who knows? I might have a drink in my hand. Who knows?
Hey, do what you need to do.
That's right. All right, everybody.
Boomer.